This is the code that we see in our problem. We have two strings, school 1 and school 2, namely Stanford and Austin. And we're talking about this compared to method, which is a string method. Right, we're saying Stanford string dot compared to Austin string. So the question is what does compared to do? And the first thing you should do, if you're not sure what it does, is to come over to Google, right? Type in Java compared to, come over here to W3 schools, and we'll read a little bit about what it does, right? And the technical details down here at the bottom is that if the first string is lexicographically less than the other string. And what does lexicographically mean? It means alphabetically comes before the other string. So if the first string comes alphabetically before the other string, it returns a negative number. If the first string is alphabetically after the second string, it returns a number greater than 0. Right? And if the two strings are equal strings, right, they have the same characters, then it's going to return the number 0. And now the question really should be is how does it exactly do what it does? Right? And the answer goes back to the ASCII table. Remember this ASCII table over here? What does compare to do? Well, if we're looking at these strings, let's say this first string is Stanford, and the second string is UT Austin. Right. What compare to does is it takes the ASCII value of the first letter and minuses the ASCII value of the second letter. And if the result is not 0, then it returns that value. Okay. And so we can see here that S's ASCII value is 83 and U's ASCII value is 85. And when you subtract that, you get negative 2. Right? 83 minus 85 is negative 2. And since negative 2 is not a 0 value, it will return the negative 2 and will print out negative 2. Okay, so that's why we know that Stanford, the first string, comes before UT, the second string, because that's what compared to does. It takes the first ASCII value of the first letter of the first string and subtracts the ASCII value of the first letter of the second string. Okay. Let me go ahead and show you that this is what it's going to do by running the program. And you can see here it prints out negative 2. Okay. Now, what if we switch the schools and we said school 2 dot compared to school 1, right? What's going to happen? Well, then it's going to take the ASCII value of U and subtract the ASCII value of S, and it's going to print out positive 2, right? Positive 2. So let's go ahead and do that. Positive 2 gets printed out. Okay. Now, what if they both start with the same letter, S? Let's see, what's another school that starts with S? I'm not sure, so I'm just going to put ST. Okay. What happens in this case? Well, they subtract the ASCII value of the first letter of the first string minus the ASCII value of the first letter of the second string, and if they are equal to 0, then compared to looks at the second letter of the two strings and subtracts them. Then it looks at the third letter if they're the same. And if they're same, it looks at the fourth letter. And if it reaches to the end and they're all the same, then it's going to return 0. Right? So here I'm going to put Stanford. They're all the same. So what is compared to going to return? Well, it's going to return 0 because all the ASCII values are equal. Right? But let's go ahead and come back and let's say SF. Oh, let's see. San Francisco University. Well, you could see that the first letters are equal, but the second letters are not. So when I go ahead and run this, it's going to return a value of 46. Okay, so that's how compared to works exactly, and that should help you in your next couple of questions.